Hi, I'm Jay Jones, Democrat running for Attorney General of Virginia, and we're going to talk about public safety. As the son of prosecutors and the father of two young boys, I've always believed that keeping our communities safe is the most important responsibility of any Virginia leader. And this week, I'm releasing my public safety plan. As Attorney General, I'll focus the office on stopping violent crime, supporting victims, and protecting our kids, not the MAGA extremism we're getting from Jason Miyares.
Several months later.
You said, according to the article, I'm quoting, Gilbert's wife could watch her own child die in her arms so that Gilbert might reconsider his political views. I can think of nothing more horrific than a mother having to hold her dying child. How can Virginians trust a man who said something so horrific so callously?
Well, again, I am so deeply, deeply sorry for what I said, and I wish that it hadn't happened, and I would take it back if I could.
How do we get to this point where we are so radically divided that we have to be paranoid about candidates running for office in the opposing team on both sides? Like we really have to look at another person and think, holy shit, this person probably wants me to die. And, 2 years ago, I would have rolled my eyes at that. A year ago, even, I would have rolled my eyes at that. But now it has become so abundantly clear that violence is in the back of people's minds all around us. You never know what somebody is thinking about you. It sucks, man. Like, we live in such a low trust society. And how did we get here at all? I mean, even as humans, we are just our own worst enemies, especially here in the West. Thank God we haven't gone the way of Europe. I mean, like, I have family in Germany, and Germans are just taught to fucking hate themselves. It is crazy to me to look at yourself as a nation or as a people group and just despise yourself to the point where you want to import the third world to come and just take over everything that you've built for thousands of years. I understand everybody's got, their own past and things that they're not proud of. I'm not saying that you have to be happy and love everything about your nation's history or your people's group history. But if you weren't a part of it, then just ignore it. You can like everything else, But here in America, we have become so radically divided that all we do is just focus on the negative shit within our country. I mean, I've been trying to make a video for the last few days on this one guy who, he's a black guy, and all he does is just talk shit about black conservatives, which is funny, because he has a problem with white people who talk about black fatigue. And then he turns around and then just talks shit about black people. Worse than anybody who has black fatigue. At least with black fatigue, it's just an issue with the culture and the state of the black community. But with that guy, for him, it's personal. He's just taking it personally. His feelings are hurt, right? That's all it is. And we're kind of just like missing the point, and I feel like that's where we're at now, is everybody's fucking feelings are so hurt that we can't really focus on what we need to be doing. You know what I mean? Like, we're so desperate to get our guy in, for us to have power on both sides, and I mean, at the end of the day, let's be real, conservatives. Your conservative leaders don't do shit. You know what I mean? Like, all these pro-life people, bitches, they ain't doing shit. Ted Cruz, pro-life, fuck that motherfucker. He ain't doing shit for pro-life people. Where are all these pro-life politicians that are actually trying to abolish abortion? Nowhere. They're all pussies. Nobody is willing to actually stand up and make change anywhere. I don't give a fuck who it is. I don't care who your favorite politician is. They're not doing enough. They're not fighting hard enough. And I feel like we have this weird ass cognitive dissonance within the right, where we have a really deeply ingrained lack of trust for the federal government, which is based as fuck. But then we turn around and whenever it's our guy, we get down on our hands and knees and kiss their fucking feet, you know, because it's our guy. You know, he's going to make the change. He's going to do it. No, he's not. No, they're not. Do not put your faith in these people. They will fail you. They will fail you. Yes, it's easy to look at this piece of shit, Jay Jones, and be like, hey, that guy's a piece of shit. Look at the stuff that he said. Yeah. Okay. Think about all the stuff that politicians do every fucking day, the things that they say that you don't hear about. There is no daily scandal with your guy, right? But then you don't actually know what's going on. Just like nobody knows that this guy is sitting there thinking about the death of his running, or not running mate, excuse me, the death of his opponent in his race to become attorney general. He wants that dude's kids to die in their mother's arms. As a lesson? For what? Motherfucker, for what? Stupid. Stupid. And what's crazy is that there are people that will still vote for him because it's their guy. That if they don't vote for him, then that means that the bad guys win. It's nuts, man. It's nuts. But anyway, I want to quit bitching. I want to get over to a clip with The Hill. Robbie at The Hill kind of breaks down what happened, how this got found out, and the aftermath. And I think that he's got a pretty good take on it.
Let's get to it. Well, so much for the tolerant left. Jay Jones is the Democratic Party's candidate in the race to be the next Attorney General of Virginia. He's a former Virginia state assemblyman, and during his time in the state legislature, he expressed some horrifying and violent thoughts about a colleague and also about children. This news broke over the weekend as screenshots of text messages that he sent back in 2022 were leaked to the media. Jones said particularly nasty things about Todd Gilbert, who was at that time the Republican Speaker of the House of Delegates. Jones said if Gilbert was in a room with Hitler and Pol Pot, Gilbert would, quote, get 2 bullets to the head. He also expressed support for the idea of Gilbert's kids dying because, quote, only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy. He also called the kids, 2 little boys, quote, young fascists. And by the way, he wrote these text messages to a Republican colleague whom he had accidentally texted. But even though that colleague told him directly he was making her uncomfortable, he continued to vocalize his bizarre revenge fantasy. This behavior is creepy, it's weird, it's obviously disqualifying from higher office. I don't think there's any question about that. Yet Jones is remaining in the race. He issued a statement which he acknowledged he had, quote, sent messages that I regret and I believe that violent rhetoric has no place in our politics. He went on to attack his opponent, incumbent Republican AG Jason Miyares, for dropping smears through Trump-controlled media organizations to assault my character, end quote.
How? There's no way he believes that. There's no way, first off, there's no way that he believes that. 2, there's no way that he thinks that that is a good defense of his campaign. Dropping smears through Trump-controlled media organizations to assault my character. No, brother, the only thing that happened to your character was you planting C4 on its foundation with your insane fucking text messages. Dude. I mean, you've got to be crazy to think that that is considered a smear. Your character has literally burned to ash. And honestly, it's embarrassing that you're even trying to keep it going. The only person that's desperate here is Jay Jones. There's no way that he believes that.
I don't know about that. Don't the voters of Virginia deserve to know this information? If anything, non-conservative media is covering the scandal reluctantly, as the mainstream knows. It's bad for Jones and makes it a bit more likely that the Republican Mieres could win re-election. The GOP's slate of candidates for Virginia are currently behind in the polls, and gubernatorial candidate Winsome Earle-Sears, the current LG, is facing the prospect of losing her race. Here she was addressing the Jay Jones controversy.
The calls for hate and violence are coming from the mouths of the Democrat Party's leaders. And Jay Jones is just the most recent, and his wish for violent acts the most clear. So if you can't solve a problem, you can't name it, but I will. And here and now, the leadership of the Democrat Party has become consumed with hate.
Meanwhile, CNN covered the story in the following manner. Headline: Virginia's Democratic nominee for Attorney General facing pressure over resurfaced text messages.
That is the most bad faith title ever. I mean, granted, it's CNN, right? Like, we know the reality of what's going on here, but it is so funny that they aren't even willing to make a point for you to understand how severe his text messages actually are. Let's be real. A lot of people will read a title and just kind of skip over it. And they're just going to think, oh, Republicans are being assholes for no reason, or, you know, like whatever. We all do it. We've all done it. All right. Whether you do it now or you've done it in the past, like, we all know it's happened before. And it sucks that there's no way to truly hold these platforms accountable. You know, it is what it is.
What was in the text messages, guys? Put it in the headline. He fantasized about children dying.
Yeah.
But Abigail Spanberger, who is running against Earle-Sears in the governor race, has refused to call on Jones to pull out of the race. She said in a statement that only that she was disgusted with his comments and she expected him to take full responsibility. I think we should.
What does that even mean? What does it mean to take full responsibility? I mean, in my mind, taking full responsibility is extreme ownership of what you've done and having the courage to actually drop from the race and not be an embarrassment to you and your party. I mean, get real.
We should demand a bit more from those who advocate violence in response to political disagreement and think the upside of dead kids is that someone you don't like will feel emotional pain. This is ghoulish stuff. And Lindsay, our president, Donald Trump, weighed in on this as well. He wrote on Truth Social, it has come out that radical left lunatic Jay Jones, who's running against Jason Mieres, made sick and demented jokes, if they were jokes at all, which were not funny. He wrote down and sent to people concerning the murder of a Republican legislature and his wife and their children. Jay Jones should drop out of the race immediately.
Now, I actually agree with you and President Trump. I think Jay Jones should drop out of the race. The part that I don't agree with is the cherry-picked decision on when somebody is speaking out of turn about violence and when they should continue to run for office. So, you know, first of all, there were headlines. You pointed the CBS News headline out, but Politico Politico had a really great headline that said violent, inflammatory text messages. There were other mainstream that called it abhorrent. So I don't want to paint the broad picture like nobody acknowledged how bad his messages were. But Trump, you know, when Pelosi's husband was attacked violently with a hammer, you'll remember that Trump went on Truth Social and said, or actually in a campaign speech, he took the time to say, how is Nancy Pelosi's husband doing, and laughed. Anybody know? And so why would that be acceptable as somebody that you want in office?
Because it's not the same thing. It's not even remotely close to the same thing. Trump is making light of Paul Pelosi being attacked by some crazy ass QAnon homeless dude, right? And it looked like he was just having a homosexual affair with this guy or something. It was weird. If you guys haven't seen the body cam footage of the police officers that arrived that night, he answers the door in his underwear, and this guy's just standing right beside him. It was very odd, the whole thing. And then he gets his ass beat with a hammer. And obviously at that point, Trump knew that Paul Pelosi was okay, but he was making light of it because it looked weird. The difference here is that Jay Jones is literally talking about murdering children. And this is such a stretch that I don't, and that just goes to show you like how bad it is, truly how bad it is, that they can't even look at the right and point to anything that's remotely close to this that most of us wouldn't already condemn to begin with.
Or when he went on to say she's building a wall at our border, and even though she has a wall around our house, which obviously doesn't do a very good job, and laughed about that, mocking and making light of a very serious situation.
Based and true.
I mean, at a campaign event in Glendale, Arizona last year, he said of Liz Cheney, she's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? So, I mean, these are the same type of things that I would never want anybody in office saying. And I agree with you. Jay Jones should step aside. But he's saying let's put Liz Cheney in a precarious situation where she would die.
Bad faith take. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, okay? I was an infantryman. Like, politicians, especially like the Cheneys that are war hawks, that are willing to send me and my brothers to a different country to go and die in a war that they will never take any part in, is something that bothers me. That pisses me off. So whenever Trump said that, I remember him saying that. And I agree with that 100%. He's not saying, let's line her up against the wall and fucking kill her, like she's trying to imply. Like, you have to be so bad faith coming into that you have to force yourself to completely ignore what he's actually talking about. He's talking about war hawks. Trump, it's funny because I was like basically talking shit about how I'm not MAGA, but I will defend him on this, is that Trump is probably one of the most like peaceful presidents we've ever had. He doesn't like war. He doesn't want any more wars to start during his presidency. He wants to end the wars that are currently happening in the world right now. And that's amazing. And he's pointing at people who are trying to encourage the U.S. continuing to get into these wars, to be involved in these conflicts all over the world that might not even have anything to do with us. And then you have to completely ignore the context. And that's just something I can't get behind. And I don't want to even allow her to try to get away with, because it's so bad faith. It's so bad faith. You have to purposefully misinterpret what he's saying. He's talking about putting her on the front line. Put her in the fucking trenches with the grunts. Let her see what it's like to fucking have rounds flying over your head that are meant to kill you. And let's be real, man. Whenever we join the military, we're broke as fuck. Most of us are joining out of desperation because we don't have any other plans. Most of us are too retarded to be able to go to college. Most of us don't come from money. Otherwise, we wouldn't be joining the fucking military. And the guys that do come from money that join the military, they're just retarded. I mean, plain and simple. And most of them realize that they made a mistake by the time they get there. Now, I'm not shitting on my service. I loved my time in the Marine Corps, and I love the dudes that I worked with. Some of these guys I still talk to on a regular basis, like literally daily. And that's why it pisses me off, because the relationship that I have developed with so many of my brothers matters to me. Like, we're not just mindless drones that are sent out to seek and destroy and kill everything in our path. Now, we will do that. But I do care about the men and women who are in the trenches beside me. Now, I've never been in trenches. I've never been in combat. but you get what I'm saying. And for politicians to just, you know, to just go, oh, well, you know, we need to go in there and do whatever, blah, blah, blah. We need to go and fucking fight for Israel. Basically, we need to do everything we can for Israel and their interests. It pisses us off. So yeah, maybe Liz Cheney should go on a deployment. She should go out on patrol and see what it's like.
I mean, you can't really make an excuse for it. If somebody is saying that and also saying that they want other people to be hurt that are in politics, we can't just point out one person.
Paul Pelosi, when I fully agree with you. I agree with you completely. I think how many Republican leaders reacted to that.
And he wasn't the only one with Paul Pelosi.
No, he wasn't. It was shameful how that was really bad. The reaction from many Republicans. I criticized it at the time. I think I did a radar on it saying, this was bad, guys. He was seriously assaulted by a crazy person. You're making fun of it. Unacceptable. The Liz Cheney thing, in my view, is a little bit different because...
And let's be clear, excuse me, Paul Pelosi should not have been attacked. Just because he's on the other side, and I think that his wife is a complete bitch that should have been yanked out of fucking politics decades ago, I still don't wish him harm. It was a weird situation, yes, and we make light of it because it is kind of funny. But at the end of the day, I don't want Paul Pelosi to be fucking murdered because he is Nancy Pelosi's husband. It's unfortunate for him, and I think that that's punishment enough. But I just wanted to make sure that we acknowledge that.
She supports policies of, I would argue, of warfare, of hawkishness. She's major ideological, intellectual supporter of regime change, of nation building, of deploying American troops everywhere. What Trump was saying, maybe inartfully to me, is, she's not going to be the one marching with a rifle. She's sending your kids to die, and she's not going to be doing it. I think it was a bit incendiary. I don't think it was actually calling for violence against her. It was saying that the people who make the decisions to send us to war never face the consequences of having rifles stuck in their face that our own soldiers face. I think that's what he meant there. So I think that's a little different. Fully agree with you on Paul Pelosi. And the media coverage is all over the place. I saw some that's been better, some that's been worse. Some was saying, some media coverage was described. I was trying to just find it now. I saw it yesterday. Charles C.W. Cook of National Review called attention to it. Whatever outlet was saying that he was musing about, so they used the word musing over and over again. That's not what he's doing. And by the way, this is so weird. So he sent these messages to the wrong person.
Right.
He didn't mean to send them to that the Republican woman who got them. And then he kept going. Yes, then he kept going. If you had accidentally started sending kind of creepy, certainly overheated, at best overheated language to the wrong person, I think he would shut up after that.
Or unsend
and
quickly.
she was, unsend quickly. And she was like, this is kind of making me uncomfortable. And he just kept going there.
But I have a really limited...
It makes him seem weird, frankly.
And I have a limited tolerance for people who talk about violence to other people and people who talk about children. So I can say blanket statement across the board that, when those things happen, I never think it's funny. And people should lose... as the American people, we vote you in, then you should not be... I would not be a person that's voting for you to be in that position because that makes me uncomfortable. In the dark, in your text messages, you're not a great person. And so we talk about social media a lot. Right. People can hide behind, an avatar, but when I'm messaging you and somebody leaks it, it's not about an attack against you. It's the fact that you still said that. You still took the time out to do that. And so that to me is a character flaw and not somebody that I want leading me forward. But I also think there has been many instances of President Trump with similar jargon that I really am uncomfortable with, which is what makes me always point to you and ask you, is this the type of presidential leadership that you want? A lot of times people sweep it under the rug as a joke, but most times I don't think that it's funny.
I don't think this is funny either, and he should drop out, but I doubt that's going to happen.
All right, guys, that's going to be it for this one. If you liked the video, let me know by giving me a like and subscribing. At this stage, it's super encouraging whenever I see people engaging, so even if you didn't like it, go down to the comment section. Let me know what you think, truly, like what you'd like to see, whether it's changing of pacing, the topics that I'm going over, maybe you want more flashy editing or something like that. Just let me know. The more engagement I get from you guys, the more I can kind of make this custom fit your expectations. So that being said, thank you again. We'll see you in the next one.